corruption and betrayal that webbed through the Los Angeles establishment and corroded some of the city's most essential institutions, my own newspaper included. The scandals that followed led to the downfall of powerful men. But it was a close call, a near miss, and many innocent and vulnerable people were hurt along the way. As of this writing, not all of them had gotten the justice they deserved. 1. The Overdose. A fog scented by canyon pines greeted Devon Kahn when he stepped from his front door. It was early in the morning of March 4, 2016, the day of the overdose, and Kahn was on his way to work. The low sun lighting the ridges of the San Gabriels promised there would be no rain. The mountains provided a painterly backdrop to the north side of Pasadena, where Kahn lived with his wife and their 10-year-old daughter. He was 44 years old and the reservations supervisor at the Hotel Constance, a boutique inn on the edge of Pasadena's central business district. A veteran of the hotel industry, Kahn had bounced from property to property as better opportunities presented themselves. He had worked at the old Ritz-Carlton in Pasadena and its successor, the Langham Huntington. Kahn did stints at the Mondrian and Sunset Tower, the West Hollywood haunts of the wealthy and celebrated. Hospitality at this level was a demanding and humbling gig. The default expectation was that every need, wish, whim, and mood of the guests will be catered to and must be abided with a smile. Even for the guests who were out of line, deference and discretion remained the watchwords. Kahn understood that. Polite, soft-spoken, eager to please, and handsome, with a striking resemblance to Los Angeles Laker Rick Fox, he considered himself an excellent fit for the business. But only to a point. There were limits to what Kahn would tolerate to keep his job. On this Friday morning he drove the usual way to the Constance, a 2-mile jaunt past the palms and tall conifers on Hill Avenue. The avenue ran surveyor straight from the more affordable neighborhoods on the north end, with their auto body shops and nail salons, south toward the domains of high-walled estates with lawns as broad as meadows. Pasadena was an old-money enclave of L.A. The fortunes that had built it came from the early railroads and banks and land developments, not the movie riches that greened Beverly Hills. Halfway along the drive on Hill Avenue sat the 110-year-old clapboard house where Kahn and his late mother had lived for a while, when the structure was a women's shelter. Kahn was a middle schooler at the time, and his mother was a crack cocaine addict. One of her principal dealers was her father. Kahn's grandfather was a charmer who drove a Cadillac convertible and took a special liking to him, a sentiment Kahn could never return. The family was from Kentucky by way of Ohio and Michigan, and Kahn's mother had moved with him and his older brother to L.A. in hopes of a fresh start. Their fathers were no longer around. Kahn's father was a businessman, model, and songwriter. One day in Detroit, as he walked out of a pharmacy, he was shot in the stomach on the orders of a man whose housing fraud scheme he threatened to expose. The bullet nearly killed him, and he later became schizophrenic, which confined him to a mental institution for the rest of his days. Kahn's mother had left him long before the shooting. She was loving and engaging and smart, and had studied social work at the University of Louisville. But drugs were her undoing, and L.A. did not change that. Seeing the house on Hill Avenue always reminded Kahn of how far he had come in life, from the bouts of homelessness, the weeks spent sleeping on the couches of people he barely knew, the long periods of living with his mother's friends while she did another stretch in jail, and the lonely hospitalizations that came with his battle against sickle cell anemia. Kahn had navigated and survived it all, and he would marvel to himself that he was a Pasadena homeowner. 4 years ago, he and his German-born wife Tanya, they had met when she was a flight attendant for Lufthansa, bought the house on Wesley Avenue, a tidy white bungalow boutonniered with a robust growth of bougainvillea.